Hello all, and welcome back to the YouTube channel of All Day Chess TD. Today we're going to be doing a GM game analysis. And make sure guys to check out the previous videos in the GM game analysis series and all other videos including puzzles, beginner repertoire, everything. And make sure if you enjoy these videos to hit the like button, leave a comment, and of course subscribe and turn on notifications. Okay guys, without further ado, let's get started with this GM game analysis. Okay, guys, this game was played in the US Chess Championship online qualifier. So that means whoever wins this tournament will be placed in the US Chess Championship for next year. This game was played between Aleksandr Lenderman and Andrew Tang, both very strong GMs. Let's see how the game went. The game started with some normal moves. d4, d5, c4, e6. This is called the Queen's Gambit declined. Now we have knight c3, a developing move, bishop e7, developing, and then we have c takes d5, e takes d5, bishop f4, and c6. Here Tang plays c6 so that he can have a strong c-pawn guarding his d5 pawn, and his structure is very solid with these two pawns. And then we have e3, bishop f5, g4. Wait, what? G4? Yeah, guys, g4. Okay, it may not seem like the best move, but this is just outright crazy by Aleksandr Lenderman, right? Well, actually, we'll see. This g4 idea, followed by a couple other moves, leads a full-scale attack on Tang's king, and after a queen sack, it's all over. And then we have bishop e6 retreating, h4, boom! There goes the next pawn, g4, h4, just push them. And now we have knight d7, queen b3. Queen b3 comes here to attack this b7 pawn, so we have queen b6, stopping the queen from attacking the b7 pawn. And then we have f3. Maybe he plays this to play e4 later on, get a solid structure, though as we see in this game, it's not really a solid structure. He's just going for a full-out attack. And then we have knight gf6, developing the knight. Now the king can castle both sides. It can either castle queen side, or it can castle king side. And then we have h5. Oh boy, guys, h5. Here it goes. We have castles. Okay, this move was quite interesting from Tang. I didn't think it was correct, especially because he's castling right into the attack, right? Which may not seem very good. And it turns out it isn't very good. And then we have bishop d3. This move is played to be attacking this h7 square, just eyeing it, because right now you can't take the h7 square because of this knight on f6. And then we have rook fc8, we have queen c2, and we have h6. The h6 move was played just to try and protect Tang's kingside, but of course it doesn't work. g5, and h takes g5. Wow, this is crazy now, because Lenderman is giving up a pawn to blow the cover on Tang's kingside. And now after bishop takes g5, Tang's kingside is basically getting demolished. c5. Okay, this move by Tang is trying to create counterplay on the queen side. Maybe later he can play c4 or take on d4, and he'll have some ideas of winning the pawn. Something like that. Knight ge2. This is protecting the d4 pawn. And then we have rook e8, bringing our rook back. But now this allows h6. Okay, now this pawn, guys, remember, it's traveled all the way from this h2 square, up to h4, up to h5, and now on h6, where it's only one step away from giving a check, and next move it can capture on g7, and so many things could happen. And then we have c4, bishop takes c4. Wait, what? This is just crazy. He's sacrificing a bishop. Yup, because this bishop is not really doing much right here, right? Because it cannot go to h7 because of the knight. So Lenderman just gives up this bishop, but it's not even bad at all. Because after d takes e4, we have h takes g7. This is wonderful. Because later in the game, if this pawn can be protected, this rook can come up here and deliver a very nice mate. Because all these squares will be guarded and the king will be in check. And also this h7 square is guarded. And the king can't take the pawn because something should be guarding it later on. And then we have queen a5, maybe trying to do some pin trickery idea, maybe bishop b4 later or something. And then we have d5 attacking. And remember, guys, if something like knight takes here, happens to occur, we can simply see that it will be game over because after knight takes, we have very nice queen h7, checkmate, and then because the knight's not guarding that h7 square anymore. And this is just completely winning for Tang. Let's say bishop takes here, then we can just play bishop takes here, and it's very nice. Our position's very solid. We have so many attacking moves. Later on in the game, maybe we can castle queenside, we can bring both our rooks to the party, we can play checkmate, we can take with our knight after this is not pinned, we can move our knight up here. So many different ideas, right? But now, as what we see in the game, we have bishop takes f6. Because, guys, after d5, Andrew Tang moved his knight here, trying to get his knight pretty active. But to no avail. Bishop takes f6. This is really good, guys, because remember, bishop takes f6, queen check. And that's mate. So now we have knight into d3 check. This was Tang's idea, right? Knight d7, knight e5, get in the party, and then bring a check. But, guys, this check does not do anything. GM Aleksandr Lenderman is already completely winning, and this game is over. Queen takes d3. Wow. Final blow. There's a famous grandmaster, GM Tall. He would have been very proud. He loves to attack, sacrifice all his pieces, go out crazy. He would have been proud of GM Lenderman here. What a game. C takes d3, and GG. That's a wrap. Because, guys, remember our idea? This bishop on f6 guards this pawn on g7. This pawn on g7 guards this rook on h8. This rook takes care of the g8 square, the f8 square, the h7 square, and make sure to give a check. Everyone's working in the party. Now let's go over some key moments in the game. Okay, guys, for the key moments in the game, we're just going to look through some very important moves made, some very important decisions made, and then we'll see how later on what happened, right? Because we know the final result, so we can see, oh, maybe because of this happened later on, right? So I think one of the main decisions that happened is g4. Right away in the opening, this is very unexpected, right? This g4 idea, and this bishop has to move back, right? I don't think Andrew Tang expected that. And then after bishop e6, h4, right? This is not very common. So I think this was a very key moment in the game. This turned things around, because it may not necessarily be the best for white, of course, but it's very much playable. And GM Lenderman just shows us how to do it. What a perfect miniature game. And then another really important thing is h5, advancing these pawns. Right, guys? These pawns are basically the story. Because if you guys remember, when it started out, all these pawns were back here. All the pawns are on this rank, right? And then if we remember, our pawn, the keystone pawn on this g7 square, was the one that led everything to success with the rook on h8 coming to mate. Correct? And then we have g5. Of course, another pawn move. This is very vital. This is a breakthrough here for GM Lenderman. Because now after takes, we have threats of h5, we have threats of bishop h7 later on. Just bring everybody to the party and just destroy. And then another really important move here was bishop takes c4. This was clearing the lines for his queen and making a not very useful bishop, because the bishop couldn't come to h7 or g6 or f5. Not necessarily. Well, I mean, bishop f5, queen f5, it's still fine. But he sacrifices the bishop to open up lines for the queen, and now it's very destructive. And last but not least, after knight d3, queen takes d3. What a move, what a decision. He understands the concept. Okay, because after we take here, there's not many more checks. I mean, you can play queen takes c3. We can just take here, and if you take my queen, I obviously give you a checkmate, right? So those were some key moments in the game. I hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.